Hey guys, this is Kogi again. I'm going to go ahead and go over how to use World of Logs. So today we're going to be going over just the overview of how it goes in, how to get in there, how to sign in, how to take a look at the dashboard. We're going to take a look at all the other things that it provides to you and offers to you on this first vid. So let's take a look, let's see how we can get there. First we need to go to worldoflogs.com. And we're just going to go ahead and take a look at, this is the opening site that you need to get to, but we need to actually get to our log. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sign out here, and I'm going to show you how we're supposed to sign in. So you can either go to sign in or you can go to the username and password section. I prefer to the sign in. And we're just going to go ahead and go through everything. So now we're back to the original page where we were at. And we're going to go look at our guild's name and all their info. We're going to pick a particular set of logs that we want to look at. Let's just look at the most current one. Let's look at the Dragon Soul 25 normal. Alright. This is the dashboard. This is just everything that had happened during the evening, any particular ranked players that we may have had during the night, which we had 2 for this particular log. And it shows you just a pretty general report of how much damage was done, taken, any kind of interrupts, most excessive damage by a spell or whatnot. But let's take a look at what the World of Logs actually has to offer you. If you go to the the dashboard section, you get a whole bunch of things. You get the dashboard originally, you get the compare fights, you get an analyze breakdown section that goes into different things. Let's take a look at that real quick. It either goes into damage done, damage taken, healing done, or hostile healing. We have just the damage done, the damage taken, healing done, healing taken, some friendly fire, deaths overviews, survivability, log browser, expression editor, and ranking info. Most of these things are pretty trivial and you rarely ever use them, but there are some of these functions that you use just all the time. You can't go without. If you go to the right, you'll have what's the full report, but underneath that you'll have bosses, kills, wipes, trash, and full report. For the bosses, it gives you both the kills and the wipes that you had on the bosses, and for any of the bosses you had during that evening. Obviously, kills are just the kills that you were able to successfully do, and the wipes were the ones that you were not successfully able to do. If you go one tab over, you have all the players, and it breaks them down into whatever class you were, and you can see and look at that person specifically by selecting that player, and it gives you all the data from that night on that person until you select a range from what you want to see based on the full report section. So like War Master Blackhorn or whatnot. And just to the right of that, you have creatures, which includes all types of bosses and any kind of creatures like Burning Tendons, Corruption, Boiling Bloods, all that kind of stuff. You can take a look at all that through the World of Logs section of the creatures part. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at a brief overview of what's going on here and the things you actually really want to take a look at. The most important parts are probably the analyze section, where you can analyze specific points of DPS, who was higher on one thing rather than another, who was having much more healing done versus something else on a specific type of ad or whatnot. The damage done is a brief generalization for the damage done on any kind of fight range, whether it's the full report itself or the specific fight, which usually you'll see that more or less, and that's where you get your parses from. Damage taken is the same thing, but in reverse, how much damage you took or the mob took, or relatively to that. Healing done is obviously how much healing was done by our healers, and it effectively breaks down their HPS. And obviously healing taken, who took the most heals, and if there were any screw-ups on that point. Friendly fire you rarely ever touch on. Deaths overview, it's also rarely ever touched on. You really kind of don't want to look through this for yourself. You kind of want to overview, see what happened during, if like a tank died to something where they weren't getting healed, or there was just a mechanic that you were not sure of, that kind of thing. Survivability just shows you, again, a brief generalization of how much based on a percentage you're able to last on that fight. If it's a low percentage, then you obviously don't last very long in that fight. If you're at 100%, that means you survive the entire encounter without dying or wiping. Log browser is a more in-depth version of the expression editor. It has more query questions that you can ask it in a section with copy and pasting. And then obviously expression editor has the part where you can set up a code where it can spit out the data that you're looking for who did what on a specific range of things, like healing, damage, whatnot. We'll get into that later. I have a whole video for that we're going to get into. And of course, the ranking info is a little bit more in depth in your tab that we have over here to the right, that shows you who ranked and based on a percentage of how close you were to ranking. This is where you would get to see if you were close enough, far enough, without having to skim through the reports and World of Logs to see where you would lie if you could have ranked. So that's just a brief generalization of the dashboard and how World of Logs starts off with. We're going to get more into it. We're going to start off in the next section with damage done, and we're going to break that up into it. So until next time, see you later, guys.